Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zack, and for the last 7 days, I've been driving the 2024 Honda Ridgeline Trailsport. Up front is a 3.5-liter V6, and down below is a 9-speed automatic transmission. Now, I am super excited to be making this video because I have spent the last 7 days and nights essentially living out of this Honda Ridgeline. For fans of the channel, you'll know that I am moving houses, and so I called up Honda and said, please give me a Ridgeline. It's also been several years since I've driven one, and I always think that it's important to update vehicles as time goes on, so we're going to be doing all of that here today. But if you would like to submit your own vehicle, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. Before we get on to anything else, let's talk about what comes with the Trailsport package. So it comes with off-road tuned suspension, all-terrain tires, all-weather floor mats, interior Trailsport badging like on the headrest, and you get orange ambient lighting on the interior, and it comes with a skid plate and of course exterior badging as well. So this is a sort of more off-road oriented Ridgeline. I wouldn't call this a hardcore off-roader now, but it's a little bit more focused on maybe trail driving or a little occasional off-road here and there, but definitely not anything too serious. But let's get back to that 3.5-liter J-Series V6 under the hood. Well, it makes 260 horsepower, and Honda has been using this engine in one form or another since the late 1990s is when they started using the J-Series engines. They are very reliable in terms of a modern engine. Of course, you are still going to require some type of maintenance to get it to 300,000 miles, but not nearly the kind of maintenance that you would see from almost any other brand. And it's one of the final engines like that, where it's naturally aspirated, makes solid, reliable horsepower, and is dead reliable. And that's what I love to see. This also is a VTEC engine, which you actually hear quite handsomely thanks to the dual exhaust and the intake. You actually hear that crossover up around 5,000 RPM, which is fantastic and has actually been a lot of fun. Like I said, paired to it is a 9-speed automatic transmission. Again, very happy to see Honda not using their CVT here in the heavier application vehicles like the Odyssey, Passport, Pilot, and of course Ridgeline. That does also help for the allowed 5,000 pounds of towing capacity, which not me personally, but this truck put to the test towing my 1931 Ford Model A from Road America up in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, all the way back home to the western suburbs of Chicago. And so, if you're questioning if it's capable, your answer here is yes. Last but not least, of course, the Ridgeline is all-wheel drive, which is very nice. How does it feel to drive the Honda Ridgeline? Well, that's its big selling point. It drives and rides like a big SUV because essentially the underpinnings are. Now, the Trailsport does get off-road tuned suspension, but it most certainly doesn't get in the way of the ride quality. That's been the best part about this. I've been using this truck a lot for hauling furniture, and it drives normally. It doesn't punish you. The suspension is not harsh, and it's lovely. Two downsides to the driving experience, however: it has a very wide turning radius, which can sometimes be annoying, but any truck is going to, so par for the course. Just with it being unibody, I thought it'd be a little bit slimmer, but that's okay. The other thing is going to be the fuel economy. I've been averaging around 21 miles to the gallon, and this was a trip that I took 2 hours on the highway, and this is comparing it to a turbo diesel F350 that I had recently as well. So as you can see, it doesn't get any better gas mileage than a giant Super Duty pickup truck. So you do lack in that, but that's what you pay for when you want a reliable engine. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I do have a digital and physical gauge cluster. So off to the left, I get a digital gauge that I can customize and change some things around if I would like. And I do get a digital speed, odometer, and fuel gauge in the center. But then off to the right, I do have a physical speedometer. On the steering wheel, on the left, we have our skip track, volume, home button, scroll wheel, and voice commands. And off to the right, we do have our adaptive adaptive cruise control and lane keep assist. This has been absolutely lovely on all of the highway trips I've taken this on, which have been plentiful. Off to the left, we do have our climate control vent, mirror adjustments, econ button, parking sensors, traction control, cargo bed light, lane departure warning, pre-collision warning, and our heated windshield wipers, which would be absolutely awesome here in the wintertime. On the door, we have 2 memory seat options, latch to get in and out, power locks, and power windows. Moving into the center, we do have our infotainment system, does have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. However, my personal experience has been that Apple CarPlay takes about a minute to boot up in the morning and actually start playing your music, which is a little annoying, especially considering that it is wired Apple CarPlay. So I would have liked to have seen a little bit quicker times from the Honda. And although this does have a wonderful backup camera that allows you for a couple different views, it does not have a cargo camera, which I do miss from larger 1500, 150 style trucks. They usually have a camera that will look into the bed so you can keep an eye on your cargo while you're driving. The Ridgeline doesn't offer that, and I would have liked to have seen that. The sound system is also fine, however, it can be upgraded. I just don't have the upgraded sound, but I would highly recommend seeking that out if you can. Down below that, we do have our climate controls. Dual zone climate has been absolutely fantastic and wonderful this last week, especially with the heat wave we are experiencing here in Northern Illinois. We do have heated seats, which have not been used this week. USB-A and USB-C, love that they offer both because technology is changing so much. It's nice to see that. 12-volt outlet and wireless charger down below, and then we move into the center. So we do have our shifter off to left. It's a push-button shifter, and I don't mind it. I actually quite like it. I think it functions well. We also have our drive modes down below that, so we have normal, snow, mud, and sand, which is really nice. And then we have our cup holders, so we will do a big friggin' bottle test, and just like the other big boy pickup trucks, the Ridgeline passes the big friggin' bottle test. Then we do get a center console, and we'll talk about the seats. The seats are leather, they are heated and memory, and they are very comfortable. I've enjoyed my time with them. And they do say Trailsport embroidered on the headrest, which I think is a very nice touch. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats, so let's go do a back seat review. So I'll start this back seat review with these back seats up because I've actually been using the truck for this. These seats do fold up. As you can see, like the legs fold down and they operate as normal seats, but there's a little handle over here, and this has been tremendously helpful. Especially, we put the big dressers in the trunk and then put the drawers in here so they didn't fly around while hauling them to my new house. But once we hop in here, can pop these seats down, and here we are in the back of the Honda Ridgeline. Now, this back here is a lot more spacious than what you would find in other pickup trucks of this price point, and that's another big win for the Ridgeline. My knees are hitting the seat in front of me, however, I do have it back a little bit, I guess a little bit further than I might otherwise. I do get a center console with 2 cup holders, smaller cup holders, however, they won't pass the big friggin' bottle test, and this rear window will open with a power switch that is located up by the dome lights up above the driver. So, nice space back here. It operates as any SUV would. You can fit your family in here. You can fit your friends in here. You can take all your buddies out four-wheeling, shove the four-wheeler in the trunk, and have a good time. But speaking of that trunk, and when I say trunk, I really mean bed, let's hop out and take a look at the cargo space because there's a couple hidden features back there that are really cool. All right, we're on the back of the 2024 Honda Ridgeline Trailsport, and there's already a cool trick up its sleeve. So, like every other pickup truck, you pull the handle here and pull it down. It does not have a soft opening tailgate. I learned that. But what it does have is you close the tailgate here, and then you'll see this button that says release, or you'll see this text, I should say, that says release. There's a handle under here. You can actually pull the door open this way. So now you can access the cargo space a little bit closer. You can actually fit your body closer and work on whatever's back here. Now we do have tie downs up at the front and rear corners. There's 8 tie downs, which have been extremely helpful. You can also come over here and you do get some cubby space and whatnot, maybe for some valuables. However, there's one more thing. You'll see this handle here, which can be locked with the car key. Push it up like that, and then you have some extra cargo space. And when I say some, I mean a lot. Now, you'll notice in the upper left corner, this does say open and close. So we can actually pull this out, and that is a little drain plug. So, Honda says that you can fill this up with ice, and when you're tailgating, you can open up the door like this, have all of your drinks in there, your meat that you're gonna grill, whatever. You can use this for a bunch of different things. Very, very cool to get this additional space out of the Honda Ridgeline, which they've done in the past. The previous generations have had this too, but always cool to point out, and something that not any other truck does, at least to my knowledge that I can think of off the top of my head, but don't quote me. So that is the rear cargo space of the Honda Ridgeline from 2024. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and this is finished in Radiant Red Metallic 2. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the sequel to Radiant Red Metallic, and they have gone bigger and better for the second time around. I always think it's funny when car makers do like sequels to colors. I mean, you have every word in the Webster dictionary to pick from, and they just make it number 2. I assume they changed the formula or something like that slightly, but don't want to mix up dealerships and paint shops. That would be my guess, but I don't work in paint. If someone could answer that for me, it would be greatly appreciated. However, I really like the look of the Trailsport Honda Ridgeline. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think, having driven the Honda Ridgeline for the last 7 days? Well, there are some shortcomings. The fuel economy isn't great. The turning radius hasn't been wonderful, and the Apple CarPlay is a little bit laggy. However, this truck has so many upsides that I don't really think about those 3 downsides. This is a pickup truck, and of course, to peel back the curtain, I've been using it as a pickup truck. This is the truck that I've used to move everything to my new house. I have done 15 maybe runs between my parents' house and my new house, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And so I'll show some pictures here of the different loads that I've carried. Now, this is not every single run. It was just the ones that I remembered to take a picture. It's been able to fit everything really, really easily in the bed of the truck. The bed is super versatile, not only with that extra storage down below, but the dual opening tailgate, the tie downs, which were very helpful. All of that was really wonderful. But you might be saying, Zach, you can get that out of a Toyota Tacoma. You can get that out of a Ford Ranger or Chevy Colorado around the same price point. And you would be right. You can get those trucks around a similar price point as this Trailsport Ridgeline. However, what sets this truck apart is the ride quality, both when you're towing and not. It actually rides and drives like a normal vehicle. It's comfortable. It's spacious on the inside. I took 4 friends to breakfast the other day, and everyone was comfortable. That can't be said about the Toyota Tacoma, which when I had that truck, I also took 4 people. It wasn't to breakfast. It was for a bachelor party and to do bachelor party activities, but we didn't fit all that well in that Tacoma. We fit beautifully in here. The ride quality, especially cruising back to my parents' house at night with nothing in the bed, it rode and drove like a fantastic SUV, but then had the capability of hauling all of my furniture, and as you saw at the beginning of the video, it can tow. It towed a 1931 Ford Model A for nearly 4 hours, and the driver that was driving this truck when that was occurring said it was fantastic. He said it was great. The only issue was from a stop. It took a little bit to get going, but once you were moving, he said it towed like a dream. That's wonderful to see. This is the perfect city truck. It's comfortable and yet still offers the versatility that makes pickup trucks so great. So if you don't need locking hubs, if you don't go seriously off-roading, if you don't need something that's going to feel like a fist fight over every pothole, then get the Ridgeline. You're going to save yourself some coin, and you're going to be comfortable while doing so. Before we end the video, however, I do want to say a couple more things. However, they're not directly related to the Ridgeline. So if you're just watching this video for consumer advice on the new Ridgeline, thank you so much for checking it out, but the rest of the video won't really pertain to that. It's mostly for the people that have been following my channel for a while because I want to say thank you. And lastly, I just wanted to give some thank yous that are well overdue. First of all, I want to thank Honda and especially Lynn for loaning me the Honda Ridgeline for the last 7 days to help me move all of this awesome stuff. I also do want to say thank you to the Ford Motor Company for loaning me the F350 last month to help move stuff, and Toyota for loaning me a Tacoma to move stuff. Without all of them, it wouldn't have been possible to move into this house. But also, I want to give a huge thank you to you. Thank you so much for watching my videos, commenting on my videos, and subscribing. This is my full-time job, and through this, I have been able to afford my own home. I have been able to finally get a desk and office space of my own. Every video, every single video on my YouTube channel before this one has been edited in my childhood bedroom of my parents' house. And so now I get to put a foot forward, have my own office space, and it's only going to be up from here. And so truly, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for making all of my dreams come true. Thank you for allowing me to make videos on cars and make a living doing so. I also didn't have to rent a moving truck. So huge thank you to Ford, Toyota, and Honda because you saved me quite a few bucks at the U-Haul counter. So one of the many, many perks of this awesome, awesome job that I am so incredibly thankful and so incredibly privileged to have. So thank you, thank you, thank you, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.